Well, it's Tuesday, February 24th. I'm Brittany Noble, and here's what's coming up on The Breakdown. A Chicago police officer repeatedly accused of improperly stopping and searching black men during traffic stops was abruptly relieved of his police powers. And today, we'll discuss the National Society of Black Engineers and how it's working to close the gap in one of America's most powerful industries. And black women are taking center stage in comedy and owning the mic. We're talking about the Black Women in Comedy Laff Fest and why laughter has always been therapy, resistance, and power in our community. The breakdown starts right now. Well, a Chicago police officer accused of violating the rights of black drivers has been stripped of his badge. Officer Richard Rodriguez is now the fifth member of the near North 18th District Tactical Team to lose his command amid an expanding misconduct investigation. The action comes after Chicago police launched a review that uncovered what officials describe as a troubling pattern of undocumented and unprofessional traffic stops. Rodriguez was flagged in a database released by Inspector General Deborah Witzberg, created to identify hotspots of alleged police misconduct. He reportedly has more complaints than any other officer in that unit, except Officer Joseph Vicchio, who is assigned also to the 18th District Tactical Team. Rodriguez is currently facing 28 complaints and is named in 8 pending lawsuits. The Post Falls City Council in Idaho voted 4-2 to remove Juneteenth as an official city holiday from its personnel policy calendar. Members voted to restore Columbus Day back to the calendar instead. This move reverses a previous decision to recognize the Black History holiday by the city, championed by Mayor Randy Westland. He hopes to recenter the holiday on American heritage, drawing backlash from critics who argue it erases Black history. Westland referred to Juneteenth as a relatively new, politically pushed, and unknown holiday.
Removing Juneteenth from the list of city holidays and restoring Columbus Day, which I believe is a more appropriate holiday honoring our American heritage.
I move to approve the amendment to the personnel policy and holiday schedule.
Second.
A motion in multiple seconds. Further discussion?
I do have one comment on it.
Oh, sorry.
Juneteenth celebrates the actual end of slavery in the United States. The abolition of slavery, I believe, is one of the crowning achievements of Western civilization and is certainly worthy of celebration. On the flip side, North America, as we know it, in the United States entirely would not exist if it were not for the expeditions of Christopher Columbus and other European explorers, which are also worth celebrating. So I don't know if you would consider doing an every other year type of thing, but I think both are very relevant to our history and worth celebrating.
I don't want to change the holiday schedule up. I think that's a lot of complexity. My own view is that Juneteenth is something that nobody had heard of until 5 years ago and was pushed for political purposes. And so I'm not in favor of having that in.
Well, Juneteenth has been celebrated since 1866. Well, President Donald Trump has settled a lawsuit with the estate of renowned singer and songwriter Isaac Hayes. The suit accuses the president of using the hit record "Hold On, I'm Coming" in his campaign without permission. Hayes' son, Isaac Hayes III, announced Monday on the social platform X that the family and estate had settled the lawsuit and are satisfied with the outcome. The statement didn't specify what resolution the parties agreed on. Hayes' estate filed the lawsuit in August of 2024, alleging that the Trump campaign used the song in video and campaign appearances 133 times in his 2020 and 2024 presidential bids. Hayes, who died in 2008 at the age of 65, and David Porter co-wrote "Hold On, I'm Coming," a 1966 hit for soul duo Sam and Dave. And education officials and students at Hunter College in New York City are demanding accountability after a professor was caught on Zoom making racist remarks. The incident happened earlier this month during a hybrid public meeting at the Joan of Arc School as an 8th grade student from the Community Action School spoke about not wanting to lose her school. It's one of 3 Upper West Side schools under consideration for relocation or closure by the Department of Education. Well, during the meeting, Professor Allison Friedman was unmuted and blurred on screen when she was heard making disparaging comments about Black people while the student was speaking.
Another important policy for me is our speech program. I've been receiving speech services since first grade. I attend Dr. Goldman and 2 other students on Fridays. He delivers lessons and helps us fit those skills into our
Black
lessons.
schools that like
This helps
they're too dumb to know they're in a bad school.
independent in our class.
I mean, apparently Martin Luther King said it. Like, if you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore. They just
Allison Friedman, what you're saying is absolutely hearable here. You've got to stop.
Well, Hunter College said that it's now reviewing the situation under its applicable conduct and non-discrimination policies. And the St. Louis family is demanding answers after surveillance video shows 3 security guards left 60-year-old Derek Hodges on a bench shortly before his death last week. The footage right here was obtained by KMOV TV. It shows them carrying Hodges out of the gated downtown Metrolink. That station is downtown near 18th and Clark, and then placing Hodges on the ground and later on a bench. Well, moments later, he actually falls off the bench that he was left on and dies. Officials say Hodges was responsive but declined medical attention, but his family is now calling for help.
But if he was incoherent or even if he was intoxicated, that shouldn't have made any difference because they should have called 911. They should have gotten some help for him.
Well, that's his mom right there. She says that they are still waiting on toxicology results and a full autopsy. The family hopes that the guards will be placed on leave and investigated. Well, the woman known as the civil rights matriarch of New Orleans, 94-year-old Dorothy Prevost, has died. She was the last living parent of the New Orleans Four, the brave group of first-grade girls who integrated public schools in Louisiana. The Four included her late daughter, Tessie Prevost, along with Leona Tate, Gail Etienne, and Ruby Bridges. In November 1960, when the girls were just 6 years old, they walked into previously all-white elementary schools under federal protection, facing angry mobs and violent resistance. Their historic step forward came just 6 years after the landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision in Brown versus the Board of Education, which ruled that racial segregation in public schools was unconstitutional. Former WNBA player Kara Braxton has died after a car crash in Georgia. She was just 43 years old. Authorities say the former 2-time champion was driving a 2023 Ford Mustang northbound on Interstate 285 in Cobb County just after 5 p.m. on Saturday when her vehicle struck a concrete median wall. Braxton was selected 7th overall in the 2005 WNBA draft by the Detroit Shock and went on to build a decade-long professional career. She won a WNBA championship in 2008 and played for multiple teams, including the Tulsa Shock, Phoenix Mercury, even the New York Liberty. Beyond the court, Braxton was a mom. Her son, Jelani Thurman, is a college football player who recently transferred from Ohio State to the University of North Carolina. Also, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan honors the late Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Sunday in Detroit at the annual The Nation of Islam Savior's Day gathering. The 92-year-old spoke of his own mortality as he praised Detroit leaders, a close assistant who delivered a speech on his behalf, and the late Reverend Jackson. Here's more of what Farrakhan said at the event as he complimented Jackson's life and legacy.
That's my brother. and I will never be found dogging his name when he did so much to help a people rise to where they are. My brother, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who passed away recently, you don't know our relationship. And in a brief moment, I just want to tell you, God sent that man to this planet for the help that our people needed. And to his dying breath, he worked for us.
Yes, he did.
And he worked for them.
Yes, he did.
I guess I can say this, that my brother Jesse, may Allah's peace be with him and his family.
Amen. Amen.
And with all of us who benefited from him. Do you remember Judge Mathis?
Yes, sir.
You do?
Yes, sir.
He's a heck of a judge. And when his son graduated, my son graduated with his son. That's a son from another mother, but we don't make no distinction here.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And that man, Judge Mathis, took me to the side in my apartment in downtown Chicago. And he said, Farrakhan, now you know I'm really ashamed. I have never given you any money for your labor. I gave my money to Push and Reverend Jackson. I said, you did? I said, well, you continue to give your money to Reverend Jackson. Listen to this, because he is putting out money to give black children scholarships in college, and every scholarship that they get that lifts them up, you are helping me in my assignment. So Jesse, keep on giving.
Go ahead.
Ain't none of you would treat that man like that.
That's right.
And at the Million Man March, Reverend Jackson came up in my suite.
That's right.
And he said to me, Brother Farrakhan, how much time are you going to give me to speak? I said, oh, Reverend Jackson, I can't give you any time. You get up and say whatever it is you want to say, and when you finish, we'll move on with others. I never told my brother 10 minutes, 5 minutes. That's my brother. And I will never be found dogging his name when he did so much to help a people rise to where they are.
Well, this is the second year in a row that Farrakhan did not deliver the main address that draws members and others from across the United States and other countries. Coming up after the break on The Breakdown, Black Americans are 13% of the population, but only 4 to 5% of engineers, and the numbers are still slipping. At the same time, America is rebuilding its infrastructure and facing major workforce shortages. So who's building the future? Who's being left out? We'll discuss coming up next. Remember, for more news headlines and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day, please visit the Black Star Network. We are your source for stories that matter to our community. We'll be right back. You're watching The Breakdown.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
I'm Risa Colbert, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
Well, today on The Breakdown, we're stepping into a conversation that sits at the intersection of equity, workforce development, and the literal foundation of this country. National Engineers Week is approaching its 75th anniversary, and while we celebrate innovation, we should also confront the numbers. Black Americans make up about 13% of the U.S. population, but only 4 to 5% of the engineering workforce. At the same time, America is in a major infrastructure moment. Bridges, highways, water systems, airports, all being rebuilt or modernized, and the country is facing real workforce shortages. Joining me now is someone who doesn't just talk about infrastructure, he definitely lives it. Michael Williams is a licensed professional engineer, a structural and bridge engineer with nearly 15 years of experience. He has led inspections on hundreds of New York City bridges. He now leads the Indianapolis office for Lawson Fisher and Associates. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the breakdown.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we've seen a recent dip in Black engineering graduate. What worries you the most about this trend?
I think what worries me the most is that we have people who have the potential to become engineers who don't know that they can be engineers because they don't see enough of us. Even in my undergraduate days, I mean, there were 3 of us out of over 100 students. And, with Engineering Week approaching and with me approaching a different phase of my career, I thought it was important for me to reach out and speak to some students locally and just get the word out that, hey, there are engineers that look like us, that have all types of backgrounds and, different interests. And I'm just trying to spread that word.
What worries you the most about this trend and this dip in Black engineering grads?
I mean, it's a trend in engineering grads in general that we just don't have enough of them in this country. So, if we can reach any group, whether it be the female engineers or the Black engineers, just to spread the word out that, maybe sometimes you should try something a little bit different if you want to be a little bit different, later on in life. And I think we have the opportunity to spread the word and get it out that, yeah, there are Black engineers and, just move from there.
Why would you say that representation matters when we're discussing infrastructure of our country?
I mean, because I think everyone brings a different perspective to the table. So with infrastructure, maybe people in different neighborhoods have different ideas and, they bring different, just ideas to the table. With me, I grew up in New York City. I at one point I did work for the city of New York as an engineer. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do that is because and what drove me to engineering, especially structural in the first place, is because I saw how much it affected everyone around me, from the bridges to the roads to the subway system there. And I just want to know, how can I make it better for the people who are actually using it, which was, my friends and my family. And again, I think just everyone, regardless of race or gender, brings a different perspective to the table, and having, representation from everywhere equally. If, African Americans would make up 13% in this country, there's no reason we shouldn't make up, 13% of the engineering workforce.
And engineering is one of the most stable, high-paying career paths in the country. Talk about some of the opportunities that come with engineering.
I mean, that's a good point. I spent a month in the Bahamas at my first firm, inspecting a couple of bridges down there. I've been sent to Alaska throughout the country for conferences and going to different offices. It's just the money aside, you get the opportunity to see things that you have never seen before. As I said, I grew up in New York City, but I've inspected bridges in the state of New York, where the only vehicles on the road were like horse and buggies, so you just get to see other things, and it really just gives you the opportunity to appreciate the world around you in a different way.
Really quickly, for parents watching, what are some of those early signs that their child might be wired for a career in engineering?
I mean, I think the easy answer is science and math. If your child has a strong science and math background, but for me, I like to take things apart and try to put them together. And I laugh because my mother said I used to try to put things back together. I didn't always succeed at putting it back together, but it's really just wanting to know how things work, and some people just take it for granted. And some people really want to know how things work and are going to spend the time, and while other people are watching TV and playing video games, just go to the library and research things, and that was me growing up. I just wanted to know why and how for just about everything. So.
Well, Michael Williams, thank you so much for sharing this information with us. We appreciate you just for joining us here on The Breakdown.
All right, thank you.
Well, did you miss Roland Martin Unfiltered last night? If so, don't worry about it. We will have highlights for you coming up after this quick break. Plus, have you come across a news story that deserves our attention? Listen, we want to hear from you. So please submit any questions or comments that you have using our QR code. It's right there on the screen right now. Scan it and communicate with us. We want to hear back from you. All right. We'll see you after the break. Stay with us.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violent stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory, attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
Hi, I'm Swing Cash, Basketball Hall of Famer, and you're watching Black Star Network.
Well, in our Black and Missing segment, Tierra Lux is missing. She was last seen in Chicago on August 9th, 2014, in the 4500 block of South Prairie Avenue. The circumstances of her disappearance are still unknown. She was last seen wearing a blue jean shorts with a black and purple backpack. Please contact Chicago Police at 312-747-8380 if you know any information about where she could be. Well, in case you missed it on Roland Martin Unfiltered, Roland addresses California Governor Gavin Newsom's comments. You have to take a look for yourself.
All right, folks. Whenever I see a social media clip, something that everybody's commenting on, one of the first things I do is play it again. Then play it again to ensure I heard what I said. And then I want to hear the context of what was being said. So when I saw this clip about a comment that California Governor Gavin Newsom made during a fireside chat with the mayor of Atlanta, I went, what did he say? And I'll play it again. Well, that clip, oh my God, he is facing massive criticism. After telling an audience, and see, here's the problem. Here's the problem. The assumption is that because he was in Atlanta and because he was sitting with Mayor Andre Dickens, it's a black audience.
Who was it?
Everybody keeps saying that. Reporters and producers and people on social media say he was telling a black audience in Atlanta that he's just like them because he scored low on the SAT and he can't read. That's the assumption people made. So we're going to play the clip. Here you go.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. This may be the wrong business to be in.
Okay. Play it again, and I want y'all to listen.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. This may be the wrong business to be in.
Okay.
Play it again.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. This may be the wrong business to be in.
Lord, folks been losing their minds. A whole bunch of black folks been posting stuff. How dare he? I scored this on my SAT. I scored this on my SAT. They were just going on and on and on. They were going crazy. And again, everybody, if you look at the response, oh my God, how did he was talking? He was talking to a black room. It was a room filled with black people because he was in Atlanta. And again, a lot of people, white people, black people, jumping to conclusions. But here's the deal: Mark Lamont, he posted some video on his social media. Let me play it for you. This is what Mark posted. These are people in line to see Gavin Newsom. This is his book tour. I just want y'all to look at the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna play again. I just want y'all to look at the audience. At the audience. Okay, I'm gonna play. This is a video on the inside. This is not a soul power audience I'm looking at. Okay. All right. Now, here's the deal. It wasn't a black audience. So if you are a social media person or a media person and you immediately jump to the conclusion that because Gavin Newsom was in Atlanta, can I help y'all out? Atlanta is not 100% black.
Hello.
Atlanta is not 50% black. In fact, because of the population shift to outer counties, Atlanta's actually no longer majority black. There are white people in Atlanta. But this is the problem with people in their media. So they just automatically assume, oh, black audience, Newsom made a comment, he was talking to black people. Now, if you actually dissect what he says, what he was saying was, I am no better than anybody else here. I didn't do a 1600 on my SAT. I'm dyslexic. I remind people that was a storyline in the Cosby Show. Bill Cosby's actual son, Ennis, was dyslexic, and that became a thing on the Cosby Show. Theo Huxtable talked about dyslexia. So here's the piece. So when he says, I'm just like everybody else, he wasn't being demeaning, saying, guess what? I'm dumb just like y'all dumb. I can't read like y'all can't read. The problem, all these people who are responding, and I've seen, oh my God, black folks, progressive, white folks, even some on the right. Now, the crazy thing is, I've seen some white conservatives go, that's not what Newsom said. See people say, man, I disagree with Newsom on everything, but that's not what he said. Y'all, nuance matters. So if you listen to what he says, he's using an example by saying, listen, I'm not some hoity-toity, A student. I didn't kill it. He's like, I'm a regular person. That's literally what he was saying. But this is what happens, though. So the mistake is for people to automatically assume he was talking to a room full of black people. So I'll just give an example. Imagine if I was giving a speech in Des Moines, Iowa, and I have the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner. So let's say I gave a speech and someone says, oh my God, did you hear what Roland Martin said to that nearly all white audience? Well, if you never see the audience, there are no pictures or video, then you don't actually know who I was talking to. Context matters. If you heard me make some comments about black men, oh my God, did you hear what Roland Martin said about black men? Was I talking to a room full of black men? Was I talking to a room full of black women? The reality is, when people speak, you are also tailoring messaging to the room. This silly, stupid story is a perfect example of folk making assumptions, and they made racial assumptions in what he had to say, but they made racial assumptions of who was in the room, and all the folk who did look like fools because they were wrong. Congo, this is just stupid.
Yeah, this was one that when I saw it, I said, I need to wait before commenting on this, because people can talk about a lot of issues with Gavin Newsom, but even though I couldn't really see him doing something like that or saying something like that in front of a bunch of black people, I think the implications, he would know better. But I was like, let me wait and see. I think also it's like, is black people playing on our own assumptions and stereotypes about ourselves, right? Because for us to automatically assume that because those comments were made, he was in front of a black audience talking about lack of intelligence and the like, that kind of plays to like what I wrote about in my Lies About Black People book in terms of the stereotypes that we tell ourselves. So I think that's problematic. And thirdly, you're absolutely right about how in this media age, the inability to fact check and the inability to actually do research, so many people are rushing and they want to be rushed rather than be right. And that is a real big problem. And of course, you got AI and deep fakes and all of that other type of stuff out there as well. But this is just like basic journalism 101 as it relates to the research. People can talk about the comments, whether they're inappropriate, but to say that it was all black people and you ain't seen who was there, that's a problem. And so I think this is a good opportunity for a relatively light example, given all the other stuff that's going on, for all of us who are in this space to do a little bit of a reset in and how we process information, how quick we are to share information, and how quick many of us are to not do our fact checks. I think this is a great example of that, and the way you're breaking it down, and what Mark Lamont Hill did as well, is extremely necessary. And more of us need to be doing that before we jump to conclusions.
Oh, absolutely. Thelma, I'm going to pull up this tweet here. This is hilarious. Give me a second.
Don't tell me it's me.
No. This is hilarious. So let's see here. Do I have it ready? I think I do. So Sean Hannity goes, Gavin Newsom thinks a 960 SAT makes him like Black Americans. Let that sink in. Well, Gavin Newsom did not waste any time responding back. He said, you didn't give a shit about the president of the United States of America posting an ape video of President Obama or calling African nations shitholes, but you're going to call me racist for talking about my lifelong struggle with dyslexia? Spare me your fake fucking outrage, Sean.
Well, Roland, you should hear.
Hold on. No, hold on, Scott. That was for Thelma. Hold on, Scott. Hold on. That was for Thelma.
One thing about Gavin is he's going to clear it every fucking time. And the thing that I see when we're talking about outrage, and I need Black people to read the fucking room. And well, we saw that they didn't read the fucking room, but read the damn social media room. If the people in the fucking room, I'm talking about the big people that was in the fucking room, did not come out and say a goddamn thing about what he said. Why are you letting MAGA and its bots rile you up? This man was sitting on stage. Y'all are mad that he's talking about his mediocre test scores. Yes, a white man being mediocre is normal in this country. He's telling you about a disorder that is authentic because it's relatable to other individuals who struggle. Everybody is not the brightest bulb in the fucking ceiling. You don't have to, he literally is telling you, you do not have to have the best test score to be a governor or hell, to be the fucking president. We all have struggles. We all can relate to each other in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Everybody is not going to be at the top. So prepare yourself based off of where you are, and you can too get to wherever your heart desires. But for the Black people to allow these bots and these MAGA conspiracy theorists to come out here and play in y'all fucking face, when we need to be sticking to the fucking script and making sure that we are putting belted ass in these fucking elections. We do not need to be distracted by something that does not even exist. This outrage should not be a fucking outrage.
Well, tonight there will be a special edition of Roland Martin Unfiltered starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Black Star Network will present the State of Our Union. Roland has more than 30 guests booked to discuss important topics such as Black health, economics, education, labor, civil rights, and voting rights. Black Votes Matter co-founders Cliff Albright and April England Albright, they will deliver the keynote speech. So you will not want to miss this special edition of Roland Martin Unfiltered. Again, this special extended coverage discussing the State of the Union on Roland Martin Unfiltered starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Be sure to join us tonight on the Black Star Network. Well, coming up after the break, we're talking about survival, healing, and purpose. Our next guest is a brain tumor survivor who turned one of the hardest seasons of her life into a calling. She founded the AromaRoom, an Indiana holistic wellness space rooted in aromatherapy, self-care, and intentional healing. From diagnosis to recovery to entrepreneurship, she is sharing how pain became purpose and what it means to rebuild your life after a health battle. Stay with us. Her story is on the other side of the break. And just know, folks, that your support is absolutely critical to what we do here at the Black Star Network. You can support us via Cash App using the Stripe code. We'll put that in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen there. You can also help us out with credit cards. Use the same thing. PayPal's R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo's RM Unfiltered, Zelle at RolandSMartin.com, Rolling at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. If you're old school, you can send checks and money orders payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Our goal is to raise $1 million by December 31st, and we certainly appreciate your support. We'll be right back.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
The plant-based
yeah, because she's still talking. Yeah, that's not.
unmute it and
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
Men who refuse to be boxed in, toned down, or silenced. Comedy has always been a powerful space for truth-telling in our community. From living rooms to stages, from church basements to sold-out theaters, laughter has been therapy, resistance, and release. Now, Black women are taking center stage in a major way. The Black Women in Comedy Laff Fest is creating space specifically for our voices, our stories, our humor, our perspective, unapologetically. Joining me today, Joanna Briley, and she is the founder of this organization, plus Phyllis Yvonne Stickney, an actress, comedian, and Black Women in Comedy Laff Fest living legend, honoree. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Breakdown.
Thank you for having us. Hi, Phyllis.
Yes. Okay. So let's get started with you, Miss Joanna. Tell me a little bit about your story and how you found your way founding this organization.
Okay, well, it was 2018, and I was in a Facebook group, and there was a festival in New York City that was all women, but the highlight was there were no Black women in the festival. And I was like, what? It was like 3 a.m. And I was like, you know what? Go Daddy, Black Women in Comedy Festival. Like, I immediately went into action mode. And I was like, well, if they don't want us, I'm going to create what we need, because our voices matter as well. So that was the impetus for the beginning of the festival. So I was so happy. Yes.
And that's good. I mean, what made you want to create this festival specifically for Black women? Like, what is it about us?
Oh, as Phyllis, a living legend, can tell you, we know how to bring the funny, our innate ability to read the room and know what the audience needs, because it's instilled in us as nurturers. So I've always believed our voices, when we're on stage, people tune in extremely more when we're talking on stage. And I just believe that people want to hear what we have to say. Our first year, we sold out every show.
Wow.
So it let us know that people want to hear what we have to say.
And Phyllis, tell us, what does it mean to you personally to see a stage dedicated to Black women being funny?
Need that we deserve, right? Because we know, Joanna, any Black woman that's trying to do comedy knows that we don't get the mic as easily as the men do. Just unfortunately, it was not a medium that was created for us. It was not a medium that really included us in large part. Just as she said, the festivals, if you saw them, you saw the same people over and over. And it was just not something that we were invited to participate in. But we're as good as and better than most.
Yes.
Across the board, hands down. And we have a unique way of seeing and telling a story. We have a unique experience, and the way that we overcome adversity, the way that we are able to I tell people, when it comes on that stage and we're able to laugh at it, we've healed past that moment. So for me, it's a healing experience, not only for me as the comic, but for those people sitting in the room. We read the room, as Joanna said, we read it better than most, and we are able to bring the funny in a unique and specific way. For me, it's exciting because I've been in the game for 4 decades, right? 4 decades. And not ever having an opportunity to be with sisters and people supporting sisters as we laugh and bring our comedy and our own brand of funny to the stage. So this is exciting for me. It's the 7th year that Joanna has been able to present it. It's the first year that I've been able to participate in it. And I'm grateful to be a part of it and to be named one of the living legends.
Tell us, Joanna, do you think that audiences are fully ready to hear folks perform like Phyllis?
Of course, of course. This is something that has, as we said, 7 years in the making. And every time I have a show or I'm in the audience or people are leaving the show, they're talking about how amazing it was to see so many funny Black women, because as we are stating, you rarely see us on stage. And New York City is like the comedy mecca. So to have a 5-day event, February 25th to March 1st in New York City on a lot of these stages it's amazing. And the audiences are in for a treat. We have so many funny women, and it's very important that our voices matter and our voices are heard.
Yeah. Tell us what kind of stories folks can expect that will be told at the Laff Fest. Are we talking relationships, politics, motherhood?
All of it. All of the things that we've experienced. I mean, for me, some of my friends say, Miss Phyllis, you got to tell your stories. You got to tell your Hollywood stories, because it's things that have happened to me in these decades that I've been working and being somewhat of a pioneer. Like, a lot of people don't know the story about Showtime at the Apollo and me being slated to be the first host and what that was like. working in Washington Square Park, right? That was where I started doing stand-up comedy, was in Washington Square Park. It wasn't in a club. So I had to make them stop, stay, then pay. So some of those stories, some of the things that we go through just trying to get booked into clubs, just trying, as you said, having relationships. So I think our stories are rich and they're specific and unique to our experience as Black women and Black women who can bring the funny. It's an intimidating thing to some men to be able to have a woman that can hold that mic. That's a lot of power. It's a lot
Yes,
of
it
power.
is. Yes,
And
it
you
is.
wield it. We wield it with grace, hopefully. And there's so many different stories, so many variations on a theme. So I'm excited to see not only what's going to happen tomorrow night. We have our meet and greet, but just through the first, what's going to happen and the amazing array of women that are coming to the mic. So this is exciting. And I'll be telling some of my Hollywood stories, some of my relationship stories, and some of my industry stories.
Ooh, that sounds like it's going to be a good time.
Yes.
Miss Joanna, for young Black girls who are the funny ones in their family, but they never see comedy as a career, any suggestions for them?
Well, they should join us on our website, Black Women in Comedy Laff Fest. We have created the Funny Fund, the first cooperative economic tool for Black women to get paid directly from their fans and their supporters. So all Black women sign up. It's free for 2026 to sign up and join the community. If you've never been on stage, there's Joanna DD. You could talk to me directly. It's a voice protected AI. We created the first Black registry for comedians to register their voices so they don't get duplicated, and we could, do that cease and desist, because it's about innovation. Our CTO, Minister Jazz, created a platform, not even a website. It's an app for Black women in comedy to come together and support one another. Because when we all rise, everybody wins, right? So economic empowerment is part of this movement. 7th year is about innovation and elevation. So I'm so proud to introduce the Funny Fund, a collective for Black women to get paid while they're on stage from their fans directly. But you have to sign up at our website, blackwomenincomedylaffest.com/thefunnyfund. And I'm so proud to be bringing this to the women in the 2026 7th year of the festival. But young comics, hit us up. All are welcome. We even have Afro-Latina. We got Jenny Saldana, Dominican Afro-Latina, doing her solo show. We have Super Virgin, another solo show. We have musical comedy with Tyler Audrey. Like, there's so much for everyone here to have a good time. Grizzly Pear, Midtown is our hub. I'm just so excited that I had the vision and the support to bring Black women to the forefront, because I've been in the game 30 years. And I also work for the MTA in New York City as a friendly token booth clerk. Hi, I get you lost on purpose.
Oh my God. Well, the Black Women in Comedy Laff Fest isn't just about jokes, folks. It's about ownership, voice, and cultural power. Phyllis is going to have 4 shows during Black Women in Comedy Laff Fest at Stand Up New York in Manhattan, February 27th and 28th at 9 and 11 p.m. on both nights. We just want to thank you guys for joining us today on The Breakdown.
Thank you so much for having us, Brittany. If you're in New York, come to the show. We got you.
And now you don't have to tell me. I will take that.
I'm also coming to Silver Spring, Maryland. So if you're in the DC area, March 14th at the Silver Spring Black Box Theater. So I'll be there as well with my team, Joke Sisters. It's all about us spreading joy and laughter as resistance.
All right, folks. You do not want to miss it. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us. See you guys.
All right. Yes, we appreciate everyone's support. And if you want to represent the Black Star Network beyond the screen, there's an easy way to do that by heading to shopblackstarnetwork.com. That's where you can find official Black Star Network swag, hoodies, t-shirts, crew necks, all the things. It's a way to support the network and show pride in Black-owned media wherever you go. But it doesn't stop there. When you shop at shopblackstarnetwork.com, you're also supporting a growing collection of Black-owned businesses, all featured on the site: apparel, accessories, gift items. We're just trying to circulate our money in our community. So you can shop blackstarnetwork.com, support the network, support Black-owned businesses, and support the culture. That is going to do it for us today on The Breakdown. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, and be sure to keep the conversation going online. We also want to hear from you. Send us your questions, your story ideas, and everything that's happening in your community. And do not forget, we'll be right back here tomorrow with more news, more context, more voices that matter. And we will have special coverage of the State of the Union tonight. Roland will start that coverage at 7 p.m. Eastern. Right there, you see the keynote will be Cliff Albright. Later on this evening. Again, folks, that show starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. It will go until late into the night. For more news, special coverage, and on-demand content, remember you can go to blackstarnetwork.com. Check out everything happening across the Black Star Network. I am Brittany Noble. Follow me online, The Noble Journalist, and we will see you tomorrow at noon on The Breakdown. Have a good day.